Hey everyone, Clinton here with the Webco marketing team, and we're going to be speaking with Austin Harwood today. Austin is a team lead for the mills here at Kellyville. Austin, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. You have a unique hobby off the clock.
Yes, sir.
So my first question obviously would be, when did this interest in ancient history, and I'm assuming it goes along with ancient culture.
Oh, yes.
So when did this come about?
It's always been something I've been interested in, but it's something I really just started practicing last spring, actually. And honestly, I really think that to Webco giving me so many days off in a row. I kind of just discovered something that was fun to do on those 4 days off in a row instead of just sitting on the house or at the house watching YouTube, you know. So been hitting it for a little over a year and a half, and really enjoy it.
Tell me about a day when you go out. Tell me about it.
My normal day, I usually search creeks and rivers around Oklahoma. So you're just talking a lot of walking, a lot of wading. Most things I flip over end up being rocks or sticks, but you know, 1 out of 1,000 ends up being something really, really cool.
What's the main thing? I mean, are we talking, you're looking for arrowheads? Are we talking?
It started off with arrowheads, and then I found out I'm not very good at spotting those. I've actually only found 3 in my career. I accidentally found my first bison skull looking for arrowheads, and ever since then, that's been the main objective, is bison skulls.
So how many of those have you found?
I have right at half a dozen, 6 of them.
Wow. Are these laying on the ground? Are these things you have to dig for?
Well, generally they'll be in the mud or the sand, and every one of them has been upside down. So you're not actually looking for the horns, you're looking for the reverse structure of a skull, teeth and things of that matter.
That's interesting. When you find one, do you have any way of dating it to knowing sort of how old it might be?
All of the bison I have are categorized as bison, which is your modern day bison. Obviously, humans did a really bad thing a couple hundred years ago and pretty much drove them to the edge of extinction. So most of mine would be dated anywhere from 300 to 3,000 years old is the general answer there.
Wow, that's amazing.
Anytime I leave the river or the creek, my pockets are full, even from the smallest, you know, old crustaceans and things from millions of years ago when this was all an ocean. You look down at the ground long enough, you'll find something cool.
Right. So you spend a lot of time on the creek banks and the river banks as they go.
I wear a swimsuit more often than most people, for sure.
Okay. Well, what would you say is your most important find?
My most interesting find to me and to most people is the mastodon tooth I found earlier this summer. But I've also found a Butherium skull, which is an Ice Age muskox. Very rare to find, and supposedly rarer than the mastodon tooth. And I actually had a show at the Mabee Center earlier last month. And it was one of only 4 that was displayed there, where, you know, you've seen a ton of teeth and stuff. So
yeah, tell me about the shows. I didn't know you do shows.
This is actually my first show. It was at the Mabee Center. It's the Indian Nations Artifact Show. It was mostly based around ancient culture, but there was a ton of people there with the extinct megafauna, like what I have, and there were some amazing examples of that. It's an annual show, and I would really suggest anybody goes. I'll definitely be there next year.
Please show us what you have, and give us a little detail about them.
I'll start with this guy here. Believe it or not, is an elephant tooth. It's from a mastodon, the kind of like a small version of a mammoth. Funny story about this one, actually. I went out on what was probably the rainiest, cloudiest day, bad conditions to search, and you know, on my hanging my head down, walking back to the truck, upset, I almost tripped over this thing. And I like to tie it honestly to 2 of our 16 principles, which is expect the best. Because even on your worst, cloudiest day, you might find an elephant tooth in Oklahoma. And 100% engaged. I mean, it might have been a bad walk, but I was still had my eyes glued on the ground the whole time, you know, and it paid off. So this is it's a beautiful example of one as well.
How would you date this? How far back?
This is at least 10,500 years old, without being carbon dated.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful example.
Yeah, I'm assuming these are pretty rare.
Some people walk 10 years and never find one. So, I mean, I've been a lucky guy, but I put them hours in, you know.
Right.
You don't find them sitting on the couch. Other than that, I have a couple other examples.
Yeah, please show us.
There's a skull of a modern bison.
Okay.
This is actually my most complete example. As you can see, it has teeth.
Wow.
On this one, it was buried all the way in the sand, just teeth sticking out. But as soon as I seen a couple rows of teeth, I know there was a skull under there.
Right.
And ended up digging this thing out. It probably weighed 65 pounds when I got it out, when it was full of sand.
It has its brown texture. Is that something you do, or is that?
No, so this is indicative of iron-rich water.
Okay.
Which I found this one in a river that is known to have a lot of iron content. So any of your older bones will, they'll pick up that color.
Okay.
We did a unfortunate mass extinction of these things not that long ago.
Right.
And then on top of that, we paid people to get the bones and grind them up as fertilizer. So we kind of covered our tracks there. To even find one nowadays is
Pretty rare.
pretty rare.
So that's an amazing. This is a really unique hobby.
You asked me 2 years ago, I never would have knew I would do it. So this guy, I actually found 2 or 3 days after my show, which was last month.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful weathering on this one, right there on the nose. I'd never actually seen anything like that, but that's just from being exposed to the sun and the air.
So
for a
this is
certain amount
natural
of time.
breakdown.
Yeah, I'll never get over finding one, especially whenever you get to start digging it out and seeing how wide it actually is. If it has both horns, you know, all that stuff. Yeah, it's definitely something I'll see myself doing for the rest of my life, that's for sure.
Austin, thank you again for taking the time to explain your off the clock activities with us.
Oh, no problem. I'll talk about it anytime.